What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Tanner, and I'm back here with another story time. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Make sure you click the like, subscribe, come back for the next one. All right, so today's story time is going to be about my first time getting in school suspension. All right, my first time getting in school suspension, I was in about eighth grade. That was like my middle school days. So my middle school days, I was like a real dickhead for real, for real. So how this story starts off is it was a normal like afternoon day ish. So basically, what happened was I was waiting on my bus, like the other story time. I was also waiting on my bus again. So I saw one of these kids that I thought I was friends with or whatever, right? So you know me, I'm a troll. So what I do is I take the hat off his head, and then I start running through like this big crowd of people. So I don't know if you guys know how bus lines are. I'll probably pop up a picture in the video to show you guys what the bus line looks like with all the people. It's not gonna be like a real picture, but to there was a lot of people there, so I was just dodging in and out of the people, right? So when I was dodging in and out of the people, I still had the hat in my hand. So my decisions were to A, place it down and walk on the bench, B, walk back to him and give it back to him, tell him I was joking, or C, take the hat and throw it in the bushes by the school. And you know me being a troll, you obviously know I did option C, which was take the hat and throw that shit in some bushes. So I took the hat and I was still running from the kid. I got close enough to my bus and I just took it and I tossed it in the bushes. So once I tossed it in the bushes, I hopped on my bus and I went to go sit down. So I didn't even know this whole time the kid was actually following me. But he was like so far behind me, I couldn't see him and he couldn't see that I obviously tossed the hat in the bushes. So I'm getting on my bus. He sees what bus I'm getting on, right? So then he then walks onto the bus and he's like, "Yo, come here." I'm like, "Oh shit." So once he tells me come here, he's like, "Yo, what'd you do with my hat?" He's like, "What'd you do with my hat?" He just keeps pressing me. He's like, "What'd you do with my hat?" I was like, "Bro, go back outside. It's sitting right there on the bench. You can't miss it." So once I told him to get off the bus and look on the bench, it's right there. He can't miss it or whatever, right? So he goes back out there. He looks on the bench. It's nowhere to be found. It's not on any of the benches. So he then walks back, like he tries to walk back to the bus, but this was at the time that all the buses closed their doors because they were getting ready to leave and take everybody home. So once that happened, I saw him try to turn back around and walk on the bus. And mind you, this all happened on a Friday. I forgot to say that in the beginning, but this all happened on a Friday. So this whole day was cool. So once he tries to walk back to the bus and the bus takes off, he's just upset. So I still have him on like Snapchat and social media and stuff like that. So I get home and he's like starts texting me on Snapchat, talk about, bro, what'd you do with my hat? What'd you do with that? Like, what'd you do? Da 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 da. I was like, it should still be right there on the bench, but I knew it wasn't on the goddamn bench. I knew I threw that shit in the bushes. But he keeps texting me. He's like, "Bro, what'd you do with it? Da, 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 da. Bro, my mom's actually upset that you took the hat. She got mad at me." I was like, "Oh, why'd she get mad at you?" And he told me what happened, and I was like, "Oh, it should still be there on the bench unless somebody stole it." Okay, so I stopped texting the kid after a while. He stopped texting me, so I was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna text you back about your hat." So I had a good weekend. It was fucking I did a lot of gaming and stuff like that, my normal. So once the weekend ends, well, it's like Sunday night. He texted me one more time on Sunday night asking again, what did I do with it or whatever. I was like, bro, maybe it might end up in a lost and found on Monday or whatever, right? So I get to school on Monday. I see the kid. He doesn't say a word to me, right? So I'm just going on about my day. I'm thinking it's like a regular day. And then boom, I'm walking to my seventh period class. I just had lunch. I'm walking to my seventh period class. Seventh period class was chorus. So we're in chorus. We're playing our instruments or whatever, right? Our teacher's teaching us how to sing and bullshit, right? So my teacher, she always just used to sit at this piano. The piano was like in the front of the classroom and she'll like play notes and like we'll have to sing the notes, right? So she's sitting at the piano and I'm sitting in my chair. My chair's like all the way in the corner opposite of the door. So I could see like whoever walked past the door or whatever, right? You guys would never believe who walks past the door. It is the damn principal. The principal walked past the door. He looks in the classroom to see if I was in there, and I saw him. We locked eyes or whatever, right? So he walks in my classroom. He asked my teacher. He was like, we're just gonna call her Miss C. He's like, Miss C, can I take Tanner for a minute, right?" So she says, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." So my teacher, she's a fucking dickhead for this shit. To this day, I think she's a dickhead. So she walks out. I'm getting up. I got my stuff, and I'm walking out. And she's gonna hop on the piano and go dun dun dun. I'm like, "Are we serious right now?" So once I get into the hallway with the principal, he looks at me, no questions, no nothing. He goes, "Do you want to be suspended?" I said, "Whoa, wait, whoa. What am I being suspended for?" At this point, I done forgot all about the hat. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Even though he texted me last night, I still completely forgot about the hat. So he asked me, "Do you want to be suspended?" I said, "What am I being suspended for?" He said, "Don't try to play dumb. Where's the hat?" I said, "Oh, the hat." So you know me, I'm sticking to my lie. Shit, shit was working on the guy, so why wouldn't it work on the principal, right? So I'm like, I took the hat off his head. I started running, and then I placed it down on the bench, knowing that was a lie. So once he says, "Okay, okay, so you're sticking to that story," I was like, "Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it or whatever, right?" So he says, "All right, go back to class." So I go back to class thinking that I'm good, like he's not gonna question me again, right? So this happened seventh period. So then I'm going about my day. It's the last period of the day. We had 9 periods in the day. So I'm in my ninth period class. There's like 15 minutes until the bell rings. So they get an announcement over the loudspeaker. They go, "Can we have Tana down to the main office? Tana down to the main office or whatever, right?" So once they called me down to the main office, I said, "No fucking way." They called me down to the main office when my day was about to end, right? So they called me down to the main office. I grabbed my stuff. I walked to the main office or whatever. And I'm just sitting there. She's like, the secretary or whatever. She's like, yeah, the principal's ready to see you." So I grabbed my stuff. I walked to the back towards the principal's office or whatever. And he's still sitting there. Now he's sitting there with the kid, right? All right. So you guys are gonna call me a dickhead for this part or whatever. But during the seventh period interview, like when he fucking interrogated me in the hallway or whatever, I told him, I was like, "Yeah, I took the hat and I gave it to my friend, and we're just gonna call him Jay." So I was like, "Yeah, I took the hat and I gave it to Jay. I don't know what he did with it after that." So once I get down to the principal ninth period, right? I walk into the office. They have Jay there. Jay's sitting there bawling his eyes out because he's not like the best kid, but like he's getting blamed for some shit he didn't do. So they call me down. I'm walking in there. Jay's sitting there bawling his eyes out. And then the other kid was just he was sitting there. So I was there and I was like, "What's up? You guys wanted to see me?" So they're all sitting at a round table. And he's like, "So yeah, we talked to your friend Jay here, right?" And Jay said that you never gave him a hat or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird," because I most definitely gave it to him. I was in the principal's office still lying out of my ass. So basically, I'm still sticking to the story until he starts bringing up. He's like, "Oh, okay, that's weird." So he's like, whenever we find this hat, whoever has the hat now can be expelled." I'm like, "Oof, damn." So once he said the word expelled, bro, I was started started snitching like 6ix9ine. I'm telling you, I was like, "All right, so here's what happened for real." I was like, "Okay." So on Friday, I took the kid's hat and I started running through the people at the bus line. And then I'm lying again. I was gonna try to look for him and give it back to him, but he was too far gone. So I took the hat and I just tossed it in the bushes next to the school. The principal was like, "Oh, now this sounds like a realistic story." I was like, "Yeah, that's basically what happened." And he was like, "Okay, so you basically lied to my face." I was like, "Yeah, because I didn't want to get in trouble." He's like, "Well, now you're even more trouble." I was like, "I know." So this is the next part. So they send the kid and Jay back to class. So when they send Jay and the kid back to class, right? Um, I'm just sitting in the principal's office. It's just me and him and his the sec that what the fuck are they called? Executive principals or whatever. Second principals. My school had like four principals. I don't know why, but we had four of them. So we were just sitting in the office. It was us and the other two principals, right? And he's like, "So now we're just gonna have to call your mom up." I was like, "Oh no, sir, please don't do that. You don't have to do that or whatever, right?" So I don't know why, but like throughout my middle school years and my high school years, my mom's phone number, every time I got a call from the school, it would just like the phone number would like never work. I don't know why. Her phone was always on or whatever, but like it's like the phone, like the call would just never go through or whatever. So they couldn't call her and like the phone just wasn't going through or whatever. So they ended up going through the emergency contact list, and the next person up was my uncle. So they call my uncle and they give him the whole rundown of the story, and they're like, he's just gonna get like 3 days of in-school suspension. So at that time, my uncle was living with me at my house for a minute. So I go on about my day. I finished like the last 5 minutes of school in school suspension, which was the stupidest shit ever. They could have just let me go back to class and I could have started the next day. So then I get on my bus, I'm sad as shit. So I get on my bus and I start I just start thinking, you feel me? So I get home, I'm taking a slow ass walk because I didn't want to walk in that fucking front door. But luckily my uncle was he was sitting there, he was ironing his clothes, he was actually about to go to work or whatever. So when he was about to go to work, he's like, you done messed up, right? I was like, "Yeah." So I started crying. And then he's like, "I'm not gonna tell your mom." I was like, "Oh, okay, bet. Thank you." So my mom never knew this whole time. So she never knew this whole time. We kept that in between us two. So I did my 3 days of in-school suspension or whatever. And I was just did my 3 days. And then a letter came in the mail from the school 2 weeks later after I did my in-school suspension. So once the letter came in, of course, I don't know why, but my mom, of course, she checked the mail and then she saw that the letter was addressed to me and her. So she takes the letter and she reads it. So she reads the letter and she's like, "You had an in school suspension and you didn't tell me?" I was like, "Oh, they called you." Lying again. I don't know why the fuck I was lying so much, but I was just lying on my ass. I didn't want to get in trouble again. So she's like, "You had in school suspension and you didn't tell me?" I was like, "Yeah, they called you." Like, yeah, after I told her that they called her, she was like, "No, the hell they didn't." She just started going off on me. And then even though my suspension was up 2 weeks ago, she ended up grounding me again for another 2 weeks because I didn't end up telling her that I had in-school suspension. So I ended up getting my phone taken away, my Xbox at the time. I'm a PlayStation nigga now, but she ended up taking my phone, my Xbox, my damn TV. So I was just in that bitch reading books like I was in jail. But yeah, that's like the end of the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for the next one. Catch you boys later. Peace.